I came into this body again, and my childhood was a very specific experience of something to accomplish past. I had childhood abuse, severe childhood abuse, but I always had a mental picture of mental health and what it would feel like.
Because in the severe childhood abuse was severe childhood solution.
Absolutely.
Solution in your vortex early on that you got an early whiff of. And what were your words just now? You said there was severe childhood abuse, but there was also...
I saw an intent for mental health and clarity and healing and forgiveness.
So all of that was in the vortex, and you kept getting whiffs of it.
Yes.
And when you did, you felt the pleasure of it until you began to deliberately gravitate toward it.
So here's the thing.
So what is forgiveness? Is forgiveness forgiving someone for wrongdoing? Or is forgiveness compassionately yielding to the dominant vibration that is really who you are?
Both.
It's alignment with who you are. Forgiveness is not what people think it is. Forgiveness is your releasing of resistance. And you have to find somehow, some way to let go of that. Forgiving the person that you're litigating. But forgiving them, it's like looking right at the problem and saying, that's not a problem, when every fiber of your being knows that it is a problem. Forgiveness is reorienting your view until there's no vibrational attachment to the unwanted, which allows you to connect to the fullness that you really are. And the fastest way to forgive is to understand that that rascal helped you to take a bounce. Helped you put things in your vortex that would not have been there otherwise.
I get it.
Yeah.
I spent years in psychoanalysis, and I spent 3 months in the vortex. And it was well worth it. I wouldn't have been able to be in the vortex 3 months if I hadn't spent 17 years in psychoanalysis. But those moments...
Well, it can be quicker.
The moments with the woman that I worked with, that I call the aha moments, I'm having as the majority of my experience today as a result of aligning with the vortex.
Here's the power of what happens here. You all are so patient because you're willing to sit in an attitude of trust and listen to us ramble endlessly from your in the vortex point of view. And as you do that, you tune your vibrational frequency to who you really are, so that then the knowledge that you've always held comes out into full view. So then things that you heard through all of those years, things that weren't meaningful from a different vibrational standpoint, suddenly begin to make sense. You see. Resonance. That's what alignment is. That's what vortex is. It's resonance, which is tuning the vibrational frequency to the fullness of who you are. Do you like knowing that the fullness of who you are is continuing to expand?
I love it.
So that you have this never-ending journey? And do you like knowing that because you don't want to be bored with what is? Or do you like knowing that because you get hooked on that feeling of expansion? Not one of you said, I'll come into a physical body and I'll endure for expansion. Every one of you said, I'll come into a physical body and I'll sift and sort for the thrill of expansion. There was no emphasis on the putting up with the restriction or the resistance. It was all about knowing the bliss of the motion forward, the alignment with that which it's like a cycle, a never-ending cycle, where you become and then you allow what you've become, and then you become some more and you allow what you've become. So life causes you to become it, but it isn't until you allow what you've become that it's really fun. So during those challenges, when you're becoming, that's when everybody's saying, oh, you need to forgive. And we say, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. In other words, life just causes you to expand. When you put the emphasis on allowing, that's when it starts clicking into place for you, you see. So all this forgiveness stuff is all well and good, but it's got you pointed toward the thing that you're trying to overcome. And you can't look at the thing that you're trying to overcome and overcome it. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So forgiveness is about forgetting what you need to forgive so that the vortex will call you to what you needed to forgive caused you to become. Get it?
I'm good. Good. So let's spin it. I heard you say...
Before you go there, let's just play with this. So you say to some rascal, I forgive you. And they say, oh, how lovely. And you say, but I'm not forgiving you for the reason you think. I'm forgiving you because I like to feel good. So I'm doing it all for me. I'm doing it all for me. But you're not irrelevant here, because if you were not that which you are, then I wouldn't have become something that I wanted to align with. So my forgiveness really is more about appreciation for the expansion that was possible because of you, and I'm just announcing to you my exhilaration in aligning in the improved me that you caused me to be. So thanks.
High five.
So my forgiveness is more about appreciation, and that's shocking to people. Is that not the ultimate making peace with what is, to appreciate
Absolutely.
the gifts that are within it? You got to be kind of hooked to your inner being before you're able to do that. Most people think you're just nutty and in denial. They say. You can't deny anything, because when you're trying to deny it, you're acknowledging its existence. There's no denial. There's no such thing as denial. Just like there's no such thing as exclusion, because your attention to it includes it. But when you switch it from denial to approval, when you switch it from denial to acceptance, when you switch it from trying to push it away to accepting its value and what it now, that's a whole other thing. Whole other thing. Because it just melts into no power, and then the vortex calls you in your unattachment, and in you go. So we like this vortex work that you're doing, because when you do the vortex work, then the vortex affects the manifestation. You get that? The vortex affects the manifestation. If you need to fix the manifestation so you can get in the vortex, hard, impossible really. But if you do the emotional journey, you get in the vortex. Why? Because you want to. Then the vortex alters the manifestation. The vortex then, now let's say this the right way. Let's say this accurate way. Does the vortex alter the manifestation, or does your entry into the vortex give you the perception where you are now able to perceive the wanted manifestation rather than the unwanted manifestation? The vortex is your ability to perceive the reality. And once you get there, then the reality shifts, and then everyone can perceive it, because once you get it vibrationally, it shifts.
And the ease at which that happens is phenomenal. Things that I've brass knuckled to let and put down as things or ways that I might have medicated or soothed myself, when I've allowed the vortex in the last 2 months to tune, they're not even of interest. It's taken my attention. I haven't even tried to take my attention off of those things. They just dropped.
They become irrelevant. In your restructuring of your vibrational habit, and therefore law of attraction's new response to your newfound point of attraction, your entire world changes. But to the others that are still focused the way they were, their world hasn't changed, and they resent you for not noticing their yucky world. They say, you should be more compassionate. You should be compassionate. And they mean by that, you should feel my pain. And we think the ultimate meaning of compassion is no pushing against what is, but an adoring acceptance of it as the beginning of my journey. And in the absence of resistance, off you go to where you want to go.